guys, welcome to Off the Path Learning. My name is Lisa, and today I'm really honored to be talking to you about Northern White Cedar. In this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about the history of cedar, including its traditional use by the First Nations. I want to talk about its medicinal benefits, and I want to talk about its toxicity claims, including some warnings for the use of cedar. I'll be talking about harvesting, identification, and how you can connect with this plant. Alright, now before I get started, I just want to give my little disclosure here. I encourage you to forage, and this is why I make these videos, to encourage you to go out there and forage. But you need to know that the responsibility for the decisions you make lies with you and you only. Something that works for me might not work for you, and with anything, you need to do your own research before you go ahead and consume. Foraging is not without risks, and you can die with just a simple mistake. So knowing that, let's get into it. So I hope everyone's winter has been going smoothly. Over in my neck of the woods, it's been a little bit of a rough winter. We've had very, very cold temperatures, minus 50 degrees Celsius. That's about minus 60 Fahrenheit. My chickens got frostbite, but they survived, and I think they're going to be fine. So right now, when I'm shooting this video, we're in very early March, and so I know probably for a lot of you spring is around the corner, but over here unfortunately I think we still have a long ways to go before we can put away our shovels and stop stoking our fires. So I'm in the province of Quebec. More specifically, I'm in the Laurentian area. I'm close to the Tremblant National Park. So at the beginning of the new year, I fell under the weather. I wasn't feeling that great, and I had a craving for pine needle tea. And that's what motivated me to make this winter tea video for you guys. I wanted to talk to you about balsam fir, spruce, pine, and cedar. In this video, I'm going to focus on cedar. I think it deserves a video of its own. As a relatively novice forager, it can be overwhelming sometimes, the amount of things that there are to learn. I struggle sometimes to know where to focus. But when I feel like that, I try my best to work intuitively, and that's been really rewarding for me. And honestly, I really believe that that's what led me to talking to you today about cedar. So the Northern White Cedar, it's also called Eastern White Cedar. I want to make a distinction here that I am not talking about Red Cedar or Eastern Red Cedar. Red Cedar has these dark blue berry-like cones, and that's an easy way you can differentiate it from the true cedar, Northern White Cedar, that I'm talking to you about today. So cedar can live a really long time, up to 1,000 years. It's a really powerful tree, and where I am here in Quebec, there's apparently one that's over 800 years old in Abitibi-Témiscamingue. Gérard Legal and Ariane Paré-Legal, in their book Forêt, actually mention that cedar isn't native to North America. It actually is native to Northern Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. But it's really the only source I found that claims this. Most sources that you find will say that cedar is native to North America. But maybe the Latin name gives us a little clue as to where this plant comes from. So regardless of whether it's native to North America or not, its range is actually pretty limited to Eastern North America as it stands now. And it was revered by many indigenous tribes of this land for years. So all around me here is Northern White Cedar, Thuja occidentalis. Cedar is not actually a plant that I found on our property, and so I had to venture out on the adjacent Crown land. I actually had to travel by snowmobile about 20 minutes to get here, but I'm not complaining. Some historians think that cedar is the tree known as Arbor Vitae, the tree that saved Jacques Cartier and his crew from scurvy in 1535 when their ships got stuck in the St. Lawrence River because of ice. The indigenous people of this land showed Jacques Cartier the benefits of cedar tea, and it's said that that is the tea that saved them. Whenever you find a plant that has toxicity claims around it, it's probably a good one to get to know. So there is a ketone in the leaf oil of cedar that is toxic, and that compound is known as Thujone. So Thujone in high doses can have quite the negative effect on the body. There have been deaths reported. Historically, cedar leaf oil has been used to bring on menstruation, and so I do not recommend this plant to pregnant or breastfeeding women. There are some people who consider this plant to have a direct effect on the uterus, and so avoid it if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. But I think it's worth mentioning here that there are a lot of commercial uses of cedar. It's used in all kinds of industries, and studies have shown that those products have no negative effects on people. Now, Thujone, according to a couple of sources, Yarrow Willard and Joseph Pitawanakwat, they say that it is not water soluble. It's not available in water. And so if you take it as an infusion, there's really no risk of having any negative side effects. Recent studies have shown that the toxicity of this plant has really been exaggerated, and that in a normal dose of 2 to 3 cups a day, there's really no danger. Not only is there no danger, but this plant is a powerful ally to us. So right behind me here is the Northern White Cedar. You can spot it from a distance because of its color. So balsam firs and spruce have this dark green color, whereas the Northern White Cedar in winter will have this like khaki brown green color. It really stands out. And if it's a snowy day, then you'll notice that the spruce and the firs kind of have a tendency to retain snow on their branches and leaves because the leaves are dense, whereas the cedar won't really hold snow that way because the leaves are really soft and supple, and so they don't hold snow. Once you get a closer look at the tree, it's really obvious that it's cedar. You can crush up the leaves in your hand and smell it. You should get a beautiful aroma. And there's no real lookalikes. The leaves are a key identifying characteristic, really. The bark also is very different. Once you know what it looks like, once you know what to look for, it's pretty obvious. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you're motivated to get out there and connect with the tree of life.